Hi guys, welcome back to Lost My Library. My name is Kate and today I am doing my July wrap-up. So in the month of July, I read a total of 7 books. I read Growing Things and Other Stories by Paul Tremblay. I read Kiss of a Stranger by Lily Danes. I read Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. I read Atlantis by Brandon Sanderson. I read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I read Battle of the Labyrinth, also by Rick Riordan, and I read A Warrior's Heart. So let's get into what I thought about these books. The book I read was Growing Things and Other Stories by Paul Tremblay. I really enjoyed this short story collection. I have only read 2 horror story collections, the other being from Stephen King, obviously, who is kind of known as the king of horror. But I really, and I mean, this could also be the fact that this is a newer story collection, whereas Stephen King, this was the one I read was his oldest short story collection, and so maybe something's different between time frames. But I really enjoyed Paul Tremblay's short story collection. I've heard his novels are even better. A lot of people like his novels better than his short story collections. So I think that I'm going to love his novels even more. I enjoyed most of the stories. I think he's got an interesting voice, interesting way of telling stories. They were longer, it felt like, and it just felt more like quality over quantity, but then again, most of the short stories in Stephen King's at least his first short story collection, were ones that he published in magazines. So this has been like a collection of like what he has published before in other stories, but whereas I think Paul Tremblay's is just a short story collection, maybe. I don't know. I really enjoyed it though. I gave it 4 stars. I do believe I am double checking my Goodreads. Yes, I give 4 stars at the time. So, moving on. The next book I read was Kiss of a Stranger by Lily Danes. This is the first book in the Lost Coast Harbors romance series. This is about Maggie, is that her name? Gabriel and Maddie. Gabriel and Maddie. Gabriel is a convict coming back to town because he was wrongly accused of a crime, and now he's wanting to take revenge on the family who sent him to jail. And so now he has found Maddie, who works for the people he's trying to go after, and it's just kind of their love story. It's cute. I really enjoyed it. I love Maddie and I love Gabriel. And then I found out the rest of the series is not about them. And I'm just like, well, that's normal for romance. But I love these two. And I kind of just want to follow these two. And I just want to know what they're doing. But I have the second book. So I probably will be following. I don't remember what the second book's about. Who that is following. But I will probably read it, although it's written by a different author. This series switches between 2 authors, Lily Danes, and I'm not sure what the other author's name is, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was some weird things, especially in the beginning, but once they got past that, I was fine, and I liked the characters, I liked the story, like the kind of whodunit kind of mystery aspect to everything. And then the ending was just like kind of like, ooh, oh, here we go. Let's kind of heartbeat fast, kind of like, okay, are they gonna make it out of here? Maybe, I don't know. All right, let's just move on. Well, I mean, obviously they survived, because like, anyways, it's a romance novel. Okay, and then I read The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. This is the 3rd book in the Percy Jackson series, and if you know, I am reading all of Rick Riordan's mythology books. So we're up to Titan's Curse, and I also read Battle of the Labyrinth this month. And then next month we will be reading The Last Olympian and The Last Hero. We're starting the Heroes of Olympus series next month. This is my favorite of the series. So of course I give this 5 stars. Can I give Gabriel Arden's books anything less than 5 stars? No, it's just not possible. I love Rick Riordan a lot. So this one focuses on Percy, obviously. Annabeth is kidnapped in the story, and it's kind of this quest of saving Annabeth, as well as finding Artemis, who has also been captured. And we are introduced to not 1, but 2. Well, we were kind of introduced to Talia, who is the daughter of Zeus, in the second book, but she has now made a big part in the third book. She is more in this one. She just kind of popped up at the end of the second one. She comes in, and she's in the third one. And then we're introduced to a son and daughter of Hades. So, Nico and Bianca are precious children of Hades. So now we have even more children of the big 3 that could possibly be the children that the prophecy is talking about. But the name, well, is it the name right there? No, it's right there. Percy Jackson. So you kind of figured it's probably going to be Percy. Anyways, 5 stars. Loved it. It's my favorite of the series. It's always been my favorite. So, Okay, moving on. Next I read was Atlantis by Brandon Sanderson. This is his first ever fantasy novel, and the first in the Cosmere universe, and the first of a series, but there's no sequels yet. I'm kind of sitting here, I'm like, I want more. I want more of my Rowden? I haven't figured out, I think it's Rowden. Okay, Rowden and Hrathen and Serene. I need more of mainly Rowden and Serene, because they're my OTP, and I was shipping them through the entire novel, even though they didn't know each other until 75%. Well, they kind of did, but if you know, you know. In this series, this book, I loved this book. I love the fact that Serene was feminine, but she was very feminine, but she was very, very strong, and she could handle herself in a ton of different situations. I loved that about Serene, and yet she was still very, very feminine, and it's so good. I just loved this whole book, and I just want more, please. I heard that he was thinking about the series continuing with side characters, and I'm just like, no, I want Rowden, and I want Serene. But this was a very nice beginning. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this book, so I think that bodes well for me. Hopefully it bodes well for me, who would like to continue with the rest of his fantasy novels. Okay. Next I read was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is about a girl named Stevie who comes to the school for prodigies. I think that's the best way to describe it. She is a modern Sherlock Holmes. She's really, really into solving mysteries, and she's come to the school so she can solve the mystery of the death of the wife and the daughter, and seeing if the daughter could be still alive. She'll be old, but she could still technically be alive, and so she's trying to find out the mystery of what happened that night. And I liked it. I'm very excited. I hope to continue with the series. I do believe the second book ends on a very big cliffhanger. So I'm very, very excited. I'm excited to continue. I want to know what happened, and I've been told that this really should have been like 1 or 2 books rather than a whole trilogy. But very, very excited. It's so good. I gave it 4 stars. Did I give it 4 stars? 4 stars. Gave it 4 stars. Alright. Then we read Battle of the Labyrinth by Percy Jackson. Well, I guess technically it is, because it's the Percy Jackson books. He's the narrator of the books, but technically it's by Rick Riordan. I gave this 5 stars. 5 stars. Is that such a surprise? No, nobody's surprised. This one is about, how to describe this? So, Annabeth and Percy accidentally discover the entrance to the Labyrinth, which is, like, in Greek mythology, it's the Labyrinth. So, it covers the entirety of the United States and maybe more. So, Percy and Annabeth are like, wait a second, Luke could be trying to use this to get monsters from past the barriers in protecting Camp Half-Blood and trying to destroy Camp Half-Blood. So we need to find a little string so we can, so before Luke gets the string, so we can, keep Camp Half-Blood okay, and so he can't use the Labyrinth. Yeah, that's pretty much how to describe this. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of things I didn't remember in this one. The one thing I did remember was Rachel throwing a blue plastic hairbrush at Cronus. That's the one thing I remembered, because that will stick with you, like, literally ever. There's nothing that tops that memory from Percy Jackson. I want to cosplay it one day, and then, like, have a blue plastic hairbrush, and just, like, threaten to throw my blue plastic hairbrush. I think that'd be funny. I want to actually throw it. I don't want to actually assault people. So, unless it's like my friend, who has given me permission that I could safely, or not as hard, throw a blue plastic hairbrush at them. Even then, who knows? So, I will not actually assault people with a blue plastic hairbrush, unless it's Cronus. Unless it's actually Cronus, then, I'm here. I'll be your Rachel Elizabeth Dare, and I will throw the blue plastic hairbrush. It might end up being pink, because that's all I've got at this moment, but I will be throwing my plastic hairbrush at Cronus, and I will. That's about as good as I can do. So, sorry. That's about as best. And I got my big giant wooden stick, and then I've got a replica of Negan's bat over there. That, it's wooden, and it very well, even though it's not real barbed wire, it can still leave a bruise, and probably knock somebody out. So, anyways, alright, moving on. Last one, is A Warrior's Heart by S.E. Smith. I did a whole quickie review about this. I hated this book. It has a 4.05 on Goodreads, and I hated it. It is bland. The characters are bland. They're Mary Sue's, and they are just not good. So the main 2 girls are supposed to be of a different race, but they're basically humans. They seem just very naive humans, rather than being a completely different race. They talk about, oh, we're different, we're a different race, we're just purple, but they don't talk about, like, what their traditions are. You know, they talked about marriage at one point, and the guys are like, who are humans, are like, hey, I want to do it, you know, like, I want to do this marriage thing at, like, human traditions. But, like, they never mention what their traditions are. Like, there's no culture behind them. So it's just them being bland, purple humans. And it's not interesting. I have a major problem with books like fantasy romance or sci-fi romance, or, like, just anything that's another genre plus romance, because when you say that, anything that's, like, the romance part is going to take over the entire novel. It's, like, you're just going to try and build try to build a world around your romance, but, like, you're going to do terrible at world. It's like your world building just falls apart because all your focus is on your romance. And, like, so you have your fantasy aspects, but they are just not good. They're not fleshed out, and that's what I have a main problem with most for fantasy romance and sci-fi romance. Because most of the time, they're just romance, because everything else is just, like, terrible. Like, they try to add these aspects, but they fail most of the time. So that, or they're very problematic things. So that's my take on fantasy romance and sci-fi romance. So maybe I should stop trying to read these, because I'm gonna just get angry. Anyways, besides that, there is a almost rape at the beginning of the novel, and that seems to be a driving force for a lot of things. But right after that happens, she instantly trusts the human guys, both females, who seem to have a history of not trusting men, trust these human guys very, very, very quickly. And like, at one point she was like, I created this teleport that, can get us out of here. I also created a self-destruct button that will destroy this entire ship, and we can get a teleport, and we can teleport out of here. And like, explains nothing. She's just like, I did this. I was like, okay, Mary Sue. Miss Perfect Mary Sue over here. Hi, hello. Why can't you be more, you know, interesting, please? Thank you. Anyways, that's just my problem with this entire book. Anyways, does it deserve the 4.05 rating? It still has. No, it doesn't. I know this is a novella, and it probably would have helped if I've read, like, the rest of it, but, like, no, nope. I'm out of here. I'm out. Bye. Alright, so that has been the 7 books I read